Hi guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. So given that I just went through the very traumatic and catastrophic visa process post-master's degree, I thought it'd be interesting to sort of talk about the job search, business creation, work visa that you get after your master's degree. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what the post-master's work visa is, who can apply for it, and how you can get it. So the job search / business creation resident permit is a special visa that you can apply for once you finish your postgraduate studies in France. This special visa is a temporary residence permit that allows you to stay in France following your studies for 1 year to look for a job. With this visa, you can search for work or you can start your own business in France. The reason why I want to focus on this wording is because I find it very ambiguous. Because I feel like being allowed to search for work and being allowed to work are two different things, and honestly, like when I first got this visa, I myself was so confused. So to just clear the air for everyone who is thinking about getting this visa or who is applying for this visa, you are allowed to search for work with this visa, but you're also allowed to work with this visa. You're allowed to work any number of hours that you want for anyone you want in France for a whole year. This is pretty different from the student visa, which I had in my first 2 years in France, because the student visa allows you to work, but it only lets you work 60% of what a regular full-time schedule is. So it's really not enough money to like live off of, to be honest. So I was super happy when I could get the post-master's job search visa because it allowed me to sort of look for full-time work with like a full-time salary. So who can apply for this magic visa? Well, people who finish their postgraduate studies in France can apply for this visa. So pretty much it's if you finish your master's degree, you can apply for this 1 year job search resident permit work visa. People who are researchers can also apply for this visa, and I think this is more for like PhD students who are also able to apply for this temporary residence work permit. And this was actually a huge factor in why I chose to do my master's degree in France. I might make another video on this, but I didn't necessarily need the master's degree that I did in France. I think professionally and even like academically it was pretty useless for me given that I'd already done studies in Canada. But the reason why I wanted to go through my master's degree within France is because I knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel. I knew that once I did finish my degree, I would be able to apply for this magic work visa and sort of take that year to find a good job that would then give me the opportunity to apply for more permanent residence permit in France. So to be perfectly honest with you, the hard part about this visa isn't really like figuring out whether you qualify for it, because honestly if you finish your studies in France, you do qualify for this visa. The tough part is the application process. Surprise, surprise, French visa, tough process. No, really, who's surprised here? But yeah, so as with every other French visa, this is another sort of like hurdle you have to get through once you finish your studies and in order for you to work. The application process is for the most part straightforward. You have to apply at the closest préfecture to you, and in order to apply you obviously have to like prepare your application, but you also have to sign up for an appointment. And so even when you're just like signing up for an appointment, it's really important that you don't leave this until the last minute, because it's not just like signing up for like a doctor's appointment or signing up for like an appointment with your guidance counselor. These appointments are limited and there are an insane amount of people that want these appointments. So it's actually really common to wait months for your visa application appointment. I myself, having applied for 4 visas in France, have actually never ever gotten an appointment less than 2 months before. So I've always like gone to book my appointment and it's always been like 2 months in the future. So this is definitely not something to leave until the last minute. If you're like, oh, I have 3 weeks until my visa expires, maybe I should apply, that's definitely not the right strategy. Honestly, once you're nearing the end of your degree, I would definitely suggest you go onto your préfecture's website and already book that appointment and start gathering the paperwork. So once you do have your appointment, you can start gathering the documents for this special visa. I'm gonna talk about all the documents you have to bring, and what I also wanna mention before I start talking about these documents is that you have to make sure that you both have an original copy and a photocopy. 9 times out of 10, if you don't have a photocopy, they won't even accept your application. Some préfectures you're lucky, like they might have a photocopier machine where you can like go pay and photocopy your stuff at the last minute during your appointment, but a lot of the préfectures don't have this, and so honestly, please make sure you're bringing the original and photocopy, otherwise they literally probably won't take your application. So that being said, what you're gonna need obviously is your passport. And now I actually made this mistake one time and they made me go photocopy my passport. You can't just bring your passport with like just your ID page photocopied. You have to make sure you have your original passport with every single page that has a stamp in it photocopied. You also have to provide your birth certificate, and the birth certificate that you give has to actually be your long form birth certificate. So it can't be like the small birth certificate that just has your own personal information. It has to be your long form birth certificate that has your information, but also your parents' information on it as well. You also want to make sure that you have your student visa with you as well as photocopy. Mine was like a little card that I had picked up at the prefecture, so you want to make sure you're bringing that with you. You have to have 3 ID photos, of course. You also have to show that you are covered by the healthcare system. And this one was tricky because I read this and I was like, what do you mean? Like, I have to show that I'm covered by the healthcare system? Like, everyone is covered by the healthcare system. Like, you can't be in France and not be covered by the healthcare system. So even though as a student you are covered by the healthcare system, you still have to go into your Amélie account and print out the attestation that you do have healthcare in France. This one is definitely ambiguous. I don't know if I'm making this very clear, but just essentially make sure you log into your Amélie account and you print off your attestation that you are covered by the Sécurité Sociale. Even though we all know you are, like, they still want to see it. And of course, just like every visa, you have to show proof of residency. So this is going to be something like a phone bill with your name and the address, or like an electricity bill with your name and your address. Or if someone is housing you, of course, you have to have an attestation that you're being housed by this person and also a copy of their ID. This one is a little bit tricky, and I've definitely been caught in this before. You want to make sure that you are going to the préfecture that is correct for your address. It can be tough because in larger areas like Paris, for example, there can be a lot of different préfectures and it really is by postal code. So make sure that the préfecture that you're applying to is the correct préfecture for the postal code on your proof of residence information. And finally, the last document that you actually need for this visa is your diploma. This is obviously a visa for people who have completed their degrees and are now transitioning to work in France. So you obviously have to prove that you got a degree in France. And so when I submitted both my diploma, I submitted all of my marks from first year to second year, and I also submitted, like, they gave me an attestation that I had received my diploma. So I submitted all 3 things just to be super safe. Now, to give you guys a timeline on this whole visa process, my visa was actually ready in less than 15 days. I went for my appointment on, like, I think it was October 5th or 6th, and I had been approved on October 15th. And so it really wasn't like a lengthy process. I was probably pretty lucky that my paperwork was processed so fast. But all that to say, like, considering the documents that I had to give and the actual wait time, this is one of the easiest visas that I actually have applied for in France. So definitely don't be afraid of this process. It's good that if you haven't yet applied for this visa and you're watching this video, that you're already thinking about it, you're already preparing yourself. And like I said, make sure you go onto your préfecture's website and you book that appointment, because you just don't want to come to the end of your degree and have your visa expired and like not be able to stay and work. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or any comments about the process, please leave them down below. Honestly, I feel like I'm some sort of expert in French visa application processes because I have just hit every single speed bump that you can hit, and after my 4th visa application process, I'm like, you can hit me with anything and I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. So yeah, any questions, leave them down below, or if you want to reach out to me on my Instagram, I'm usually pretty responsive there. I'll like put a picture of that somewhere so you know what that is. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.